this is James and I'm back in the shop again. If you've been watching my previous videos, you know that I've been building a long bench with 22 drawers in it so I can store all the stuff that's just sitting around my shop right now. And if you saw the last video, you know that I just cut out most of the drawer sides to make the drawer boxes. So this is part 2. And I will be taking you through the process of constructing drawers. So stay tuned and stay with me, and we're going to build 22 drawers. So I have in my stack of wood here 4 pieces of 4x8 that it's just a little bit bigger than 3/16, and these are going to be my drawer bottoms. I typically paint the bottoms of drawers so that they don't collect dust, so we'll get to that in a minute. But with that 3/16 inch width, I have set up my stacked dado head, and basically it just takes the inner and the outer blade to make the proper size groove that will hold the drawer bottoms. So I am going to run through all of those pieces so that it will accept a drawer bottom, and then what we're going to do is set up the dado head to take out a 1/2 inch so that we can do a nice join on the corners. So we'll get to that next, but first we're going to cut all the grooves. Alright, first we're going to put on some dust protection. And I have this set up to cut the groove 3/4 inch from the bottom. And we will just start cutting grooves. Dust collector first. Alright, so the next step is to put the stacked dado head wider, thicker, in the table saw, and I've got this sacrificial fence up so that I can sneak right up to it and get the height adjusted correctly so that I take away half of the amount of the drawer sides, and that is just exactly, well, I can't, it won't stay up here. It's just exactly the width of a drawer so that they will fit together like that. Kind of. I can't hold both. Anyway, so we're going to cut those out of each side of the front and back so that we maintain the proper width, and then glue the sides in and shoot a few pin nails in, and we will have our drawer bottoms. So I got to get to work and cut that stack over there, and then I'll be back to show you how we're going to glue them up. Actually, before that, we'll cut the drawer bottoms so that we'll have a nice square drawer. So we'll be back for that. Okay, like we said in the previous sections, I've pre-cut all the drawer slides and cut them for these are the long sides, the widths, and I've cut them all the same depth. They're all 18 inches deep, well actually 18.5, and these have all been cut with the bottom drawer groove, and we're going to start gluing them up. So I'll reset the camera and we'll get started. Now I know there's dozens of ways to glue these up. The method I found easiest is to use these framing clamps because it gives me perfect right angles to start with. So we'll start out, we're doing one side here, and we get this semi-adjusted. And then we'll take the side piece, which was over there, and we'll make sure the groove is in the bottom. And we'll just dry fit to make sure that the clamps are in the correct place. And that will clamp it up nicely right there. And that will go well there. So we'll leave this side loose, and we'll hit this side with some glue. Set it in place, make sure it's tight, and tighten up the opposing side. And then to hold the top while I nail it, we'll put one more clamp up on top. And then that will secure the whole joint. And it's nice and tight, and then I put about 6 or 7 nails through the side. And then we'll repeat that for the opposite corner. Since this is 1/2" wood, I'm using 1/2" plywood. I'm only using 1" nails, so they're only going in, about 3/4 of an inch. So now we have those two sides secured. It's time to fit the drawer bottom. Now I've cut all the drawer bottom depths all exactly the same, but since each drawer width is a little bit different, I'm marking each of them individually to make sure they're all fit together correctly. So this will slide in to the groove, and since it's a little bit bowed, we have to push it a little bit to get it in its groove over there on the opposite side, which is good right there. There we go. And then I'm going to mark 3/16 of an inch to fit in the groove of this piece. These are 3/16 deep. So I'll just mark it at 3/16 and then take it over to the table saw and cut this width off. I'll be right back. Okay, so now we have the proper width on this drawer bottom. So we will prepare to attach the last side. So we'll, like before, we'll have to push down a little bit because it's bowed to get it in the back groove. And there it is in the back groove. So now all we have to do is glue up these two sides and fit this into this position, and then nail the final two sides. Again, it gets a little dicey because the bottom board is a little warped, but with a little massaging, it does go right in. There. So, if they fit together pretty well, just by holding it, you can just go ahead and nail, which I'm going to do here. And you can do it without clamping, because the bottom board is perfectly square. So this eliminates the need to reclamp everything. And we'll do the other side the same way. So now we have our box, and all we have to do is attach the drawer slide pieces that go on the drawer. The other sides are already mounted in the cabinets. So I know I want all these corresponding slides 1.5 inches from the bottom of these drawers. So I just put a mark in, and this will be the front. So we will just mount the drawer slide like this. We'll use 4. I'm using actually sheet metal screws because I couldn't find any screws that are 1/2 inch for wood that would work well, but these work just fine. And we'll do the same on the other side. I don't know why the first time in it's sometimes a little sticky, but this one seems to work fine. Okay, well here's the next step in doing the drawers, and that is doing the drawer fronts. And I have roughed out 3/4 plywood for each of the fronts, except for this center section here, where instead of 4 drawers, I have 6 drawers that are not quite as tall. I needed some drawers that were thinner, so things didn't get buried too deep. I'm going to be dividing the drawers up with dividers to keep smaller stuff. But probably nobody will ever notice but me that I kept the grain of the plywood correct for all of the fronts. And they will match side to side and up and down. And that's just a nicer look, I think. But I will still be putting a bevel on the edges of these drawers, and then, of course, drilling them for drawer handles after I get them finished with polyurethane. So that's just the next step, and we will continue on, and I'll be back with a finished product. So I clamped my dust protection onto this little router table to put the beveled edge on the fronts. So here we go. Beveled edge. It's going to be on all of them, and then I'll sand and put on 2 or 3 coats of polyurethane, mount them up, and then install the drawer handles. So we're in the home stretch, and the dust collection like this doesn't get it all, but it gets about 90% of it. So I only have 21 more to go. So stay tuned. Okay, well, we've come down to the final step, which is attaching these drawer handles onto the fronts of the 22 drawers. And I've decided that I'd like them all to be 2 inches down from the top instead of trying to figure out the middle in the height of each drawer. I like the uniform look. So I made this little jig, and here's the center line, and it fits exactly the holes for the door handle. So all I need to do is find the midpoint of the width of the drawer and mark that. And so this drawer is 27 3/4. So we want 13 1/2 3/8. So we want 13 7/8, which would be right there. And we can hang this template right on that center line, like that, and then go ahead and drill the holes. And like most drawer handles, it comes with 2 different size screws, and because I have an inner drawer and a faceplate, we're going to use the longer screw. That should fit exactly. And we'll tighten her up. And that's the way you mount a drawer handle. So I'm going to do this 21 more times, and then I'm going to vacuum out the insides of all the drawers, of all the debris from drilling and whatnot, and then load them up and get everything in my shop finally off the floor. So we'll be back for the final installment. Stay tuned. Well, I want to thank all of you who've been following along on this part 2 of my shop update. I now have 22 drawers that I can begin storing things in. The organization of the shop is now pretty much complete once I put everything away. The reason I like drawers is because you can control the amount of dust on your tools. So I'll have a drawer for different kinds of similar things. But this way they won't become all dusty as I do other projects. The reason I have this extra table saw that I've stripped down is because I'm expecting to do more projects that involve making log furniture, and I have a piece of specialized equipment coming that'll mount on this saw and become a dedicated tool to build log furniture. But that's next. Right now I just want to thank you all for joining me in this shop organization video. Thank you for all your wonderful comments. Thank you for subscribing. And follow along. We got a lot more to come. But this has been a fun project and definitely worthwhile. By the way, for anybody who's wondering, the cost of the wood, the drawer slides, the drawer handles, you know, all the various kinds of plywood, and the receptacle outlets, this one and this one, made this whole 18-foot bench project under $500. So I think it was money well spent. It's very attractive, and it'll completely store everything I have. So again, thank you for watching. Come back next time when James will be in the shop again. Take care. Bye.